Urban legends. The creepy, unnerving stories that pop up all around the world. You've heard of them. Bloody Mary? No, that's not right. Bloody Mary? The boogeyman? It seems that no matter where or what is happening, there's always some sort of urban legend surrounding it for some reason. And this is true for video games as well. This is why UrbanInsight is going to be bringing you the top 5 creepiest urban legends in video games. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Probably one of the last games you'd think to be extremely creepy. However, that hasn't stopped urban legends from popping up. The rumors have started since as early as the release of GTA San Andreas. Many people on internet forums were claiming that they could hear strange chainsaw noises coming from the Panopticon. Soon these rumors began to grow more intense, with people even saying that they've seen the killer, who many dubbed Leatherface, based on the famous Texas Chainsaw Massacre. People would go out into the Panopticon or the wilderness in general trying to find Leatherface. However, it often resulted in nothing. Players would report that they would go to the Panopticon, and if they were to leave their console, they would come back and be dead, leading some to speculate that Leatherface actually killed you while you were AFK. It is incredibly difficult to say whether or not Leatherface, or Bigfoot for that matter, exists in GTA San Andreas, because all proof of the situation is either faked, photoshopped, or a mod. So next time you're playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, keep an eye out for some creepy urban legends. And if you have seen any, whether it be Leatherface or Bigfoot, be sure to leave a comment below letting us know. We're interested to find out. So this is considered more of a theory more than an urban legend, but some could consider it a little bit of both. For those of you who have played Final Fantasy VII, I'm sure you're all aware by now that Aeris dies, and if that's a spoiler, I am really impressed that it hasn't been spoiled for you yet, so I apologize sincerely. However, the urban legend goes that when Sephiroth comes down and stabs her through the spine, people have found that in real life, I don't know how they came up with this, but in real life, that would not actually kill you, at least not instantly. And people speculate that Aeris was actually just paralyzed or put into a coma. Now what this means is that when Cloud takes Aeris's body, walks her to the pool outside of the Ancient's dwelling thing, and sets her into the water, many believe that Cloud is actually her killer. That by setting her into the water in her paralyzed or comaed state, that she sunk and drowned and died because Cloud did what he did. As a very big fan of Final Fantasy VII, this urban legend slash theory really unsettled me, and that's why I decided to include it here on the top 5 creepiest urban legends in video games. What do you guys think of this? Let me know in the comments below because I'm really interested, especially on a topic that hits home so much as Final Fantasy VII. World of Warcraft, a game that definitely has some dark themes, but not necessarily to this degree. The Karazhan Crypt is a piece of unreleased content in World of Warcraft that is rather grim. While World of Warcraft has grim depictions of death and other creepy things throughout the game, nothing really can stand up to the Karazhan Crypts. The crypts started out as a rumor. As more and more screenshots arose, players began to think that it was just a hoax. However, methods began to surface on how to actually enter the crypts, and the more people tried, the more well-known it became. It began to transform from something that was just an urban legend into something that was very real. As you enter the crypt, you're met with something that is known as the Well of Forgotten. As you look down the well, players saw nothing but a pit of darkness, and those brave enough to actually jump down were met with a large pile of bones. The victims from the fall. This room was labeled the Pit of Criminals. Getting out of this room was no easy task, however. Players had to navigate a maze littered with dead bodies at every dead end. It was a very disturbing sight. Those who could make it through the maze were faced with probably one of the most disturbing images in the Karazhan Crypts, and in all of WoW for that matter. At the end of the stairs revealed a large flooded area, and underneath that water was a complex chain system in which human prisoners are tied to these chains by their necks, floating towards the surface, in which they were either drowned or choked. Rumor has it that Blizzard sealed this off at the last moment because they were worried that it would give them an M rating rather than a T rating, which is quite understandable. Eventually, the ways getting into the Karazhan Crypts were patched using an invisible wall, but people still say that it's possible to get inside these crypts today. Either way, this grim moment of World of Warcraft history will live on forever in the minds of players who experienced it firsthand. If you have experienced this firsthand, let me know how you feel about it. Those brave enough to actually go into the Karazhan Crypts deserve to be heard. Does Fallout 3 actually predict the future? Some people believe it has. Galaxy News Radio is a radio in Fallout 3 that broadcasts music and other messages. It's hosted by Three Dog. Well, if you kill Three Dog in-game, he's replaced with his on-air assistant, Margaret. If you then skip past the Galaxy News Radio mission and you destroy Raven Rock, then Galaxy News Radio will sometimes turn into a numbers station. These do exist in real life, often broadcasting numbers and Morse code that are heavily encoded. Well, some people decided to decrypt the numbers in Morse code that are read by a sad-sounding Three Dog in Fallout 3. What they've found is particularly disturbing. In a forum post in 2007, a user detailed multiple lines from the Morse code and numbers, some saying that the Queen was dead, and others that actually turned out to be true, such as an oil spill and the death of Gary Coleman. One of the most disturbingly accurate predictions would be the oil spill, in which the message detailed 9454202010. Accident in the Gulf, several dead, oil spill apparently averted. Now this sounds an awful lot like the BP explosion and the erroneous Day 1 assessment that the well was not leaking. This has led many people to believe that Fallout 3 actually predicted the future. However, there is no actual proof that this is what the messages said, as the messages were only decrypted by a couple people, leading many to believe that this could just be a hoax. Whether it was Fallout 3 or just a group of pranksters, somebody predicted the oil spill and the death of Gary Coleman back in 2007, which is impressive nonetheless. We'll never be sure whether or not Fallout 3 actually predicted the future, or if it was nothing more than a coincidence. Morrowind was probably one of my favorite games as a child, and there are definitely some very creepy things in the game. Those of us who game on the PC are very familiar with the fact that all of the Elder Scrolls games usually come with lots and lots of mods. Some are good, some are absolutely terrible, and in this case, some are downright disturbing. Morrowind mod JVK1166Z is an infamous mod. It was a mod that was apparently never uploaded to any big mod forums, but was passed around on the smaller underground role-playing forums. Those who got access to the mod reported it as a virus because anytime they tried to run it, their game would crash and it would corrupt their save file and all their game files. Then, on a small forum, someone was messaged with the mod, along with a message saying to play it in DOSBox. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with DOSBox, it is essentially a program that allows users to play older games on their newer hardware. When this user loaded the mod in DOSBox, it apparently worked. Very buggy, but it worked. Now there is so much content in this mod that it is almost impossible to cover everything. However, when users played this, it was reported that the NPCs talked as if someone was imitating them, as if it was someone who was pretending to be the NPC but wasn't truly them. There were reports of strange creatures, of dungeons being darker, of everything feeling more sinister, off, and just all around disturbing. The users say that if you get past the Dwemer runes, you find yourself at a level that is like the Dwemer rooms, but darker. As you make your way through, you come into a room called the Portrait Room. The room, appropriately named, was filled with portraits, random selected images from the user's My Pictures folder. Many users would submit screenshots of this room, and the portraits often had things like porn in them, but nonetheless, it was probably the most memorable room from this mod. At the end of this room, there was a door, and it was locked and impossible to get into. And because the only functions that worked in this version of the game were the quick save and the quick load, users could not glitch through it, or attempt to no-clip or use any sort of console commands to find out what was on the other side. Users apparently went insane trying to figure out how to get past this door and see what was on the other side. As users attempted to get past the door, they said they'd see an assassin in the game, lurking in the shadows and watching their every move. Users would report that once they left the game and were back in the real world, that sometimes they would see the lurker assassin at night in their houses, crawling along their ceiling or running along the walls. It's definitely a very disturbing story, and it is probably just an urban legend, as there is no proof that the mod actually exists, and any versions of the mod that do exist are probably just created based on the urban legend, so it's impossible to say whether or not this was actually true. Either way, it is still a super creepy story, and it's really interesting to see what kind of things can come from mods. I have to thank all you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did like the content, go ahead and leave a like. I put a lot of effort into making these videos, so it really is nice to see the feedback and to see if people are actually enjoying them. Leaving a like also lets me know that you want to see more content like this, and if you'd like to see other content or you have some recommendations on videos that I should do, go ahead and leave a comment in the description on what those are. It's great to have ideas from the community because then I can give back to what I think you guys want to see, and it helps us both. I try to upload regularly, so if you like this top gaming and media content, go ahead and subscribe because there will be more videos just like this one on the way. Thank you guys so much for watching and leaving feedback. This has been Urban Insight on the top 5 creepiest urban legends in video gaming.